Satisfactory 1.0 is out now, and with it are a lot of new players. If you're one of those new players, then first of all, welcome to the community. Hi, I'm Mason and this is Satisfactory News. If you like my videos, I also edit for the developers on the Coffee Stain Studios YouTube channel, so be sure to check them out to see game updates as soon as they reveal them. They're the best community management team out there and they deserve your attention. Now secondly, as a new player, there are probably many things you don't know about this game, so sit back and relax and let a veteran player of the last 5 years of early access tell you a few things that Satisfactory might be keeping secret from you. Now don't worry, none of these are spoilers or story secrets or anything like that. These are just quality of life tips that maybe the game isn't very upfront about and that you might not discover on your own. You can upgrade some items in place. As I was going through my new 1.0 playthrough, I unlocked the Miner Mark II and there was a voice line about being able to upgrade miners without dismantling the old one, which made me realize that I don't think I had heard that tip in the game prior to that, even though it can apply to other things. Miners are not the only thing you can upgrade without dismantling. Belts are the biggest one, especially when you're unlocking the belt tiers pretty frequently in the early game. Simply select a different tier of belt from the build menu and hover over the old one. Click to build and you'll get refunded the materials from the old belt. Items that were on the belt stay on it and don't get disrupted or put in your inventory. Pipes work the same way. You can also upgrade power poles in place so you don't disrupt your power. A less obvious one is splitters and mergers. By holding Control while building a splitter or merger, you can replace the existing one rather than just building on top of it. The game will also maintain the orientation as best as possible, although if belts are attached, that's not really going to work. You can build power poles on an existing line. Did you build a long power line and want to put a new pole somewhere in the middle of it? No need to dismantle it and interrupt your power. Instead, with a power pole selected in the build gun, click on a power line and the pole will snap to the line. Now you can move that hologram power pole around and then click again to finally place it, and the power lines will be automatically created to bridge the gap and the old one will disappear. This is a really good feature to know about so that you don't mess up your power grid while expanding your factories. This also works for wall outlets. Focus on research while space elevator parts are building. Space elevator parts are intentionally difficult to create and have to be made in a factory machine rather than by hand. This means they can take a long time. And they're not the only thing that can take a long time. Sometimes you just have to wait around in this game. So while you're waiting, take some time to do additional research. This includes research in the hub and research in the MAM. Both are essential to your progress and enjoyment of the game. But especially when it comes to the MAM research, you'll really need to travel around the map and discover new areas. Hard drives in particular can unlock valuable alternate recipes, and one of the most coveted ones in the early game is cast screws, which lets you create screws from iron ingots rather than turning them into rods first. This can save you a ton of materials and space. There are a lot of tools in the game that help with exploring. Blade runners are practically essential as they allow you to run much faster and jump much higher, as well as potentially survive fall damage. Pairing this with the parachute means you can jump off high areas and glide down safely. The object scanner allows you to search for nearby items, and more items are added as the game goes on and you unlock them, so you can use it to find crash sites, Mercer spheres, and much more. Research and build the zipline tool as soon as possible to travel along power lines. This is especially good on the long and uninterrupted power lines from the power tower. Use the large power towers with a platform to make it even easier. You can quickly discover the entire map by building a power tower, ziplining over to it, and continuing that process forever. They also have crazy range when you're building them, so with a little effort you can use it to get to hard to reach areas like high places. No more concrete ramps to the stars. Vehicles can be fun as an exploration tool, but a large portion of the map has just too much verticality for the vehicles to be your only tool, so I recommend playing with all of the different things available to you. Make your factories look better with snapping. A lot of things in this game can snap to some sort of grid or a specific angle, which makes it easier to build and for the factory to look cohesive. The first is the world grid, which you can build foundations on. While building a foundation, hold the control key to lock a foundation to the invisible world grid, which will also force it to face one of the cardinal directions. Snapping can also be used while building factory machines. Quickly build a perfectly positioned row of buildings by holding control while building them, and they will snap to each other easily. Holding control while placing anything that has inputs or outputs will also show helpful lines to indicate the flow direction. Combine this with nudge for the best results. Press H to lock a hologram in place, then walk around freely to make sure it's positioned properly. And if it's not, use the arrow keys to nudge it, then click to place. When building a belt on open ground, hold Control to snap the belt to the previous belt in the line and make it straight. You can also press R to change the build mode on belts to build perfect 90-degree angles with straight mode. This is incredibly helpful when trying to keep your belts clean and saves a ton of time and guesswork. But first, a quick ad. I know a lot of people in the Satisfactory community don't have a PC powerful enough to play Satisfactory. Maybe you're a console player and don't want to buy a whole gaming PC, or maybe you have an old laptop and it just doesn't run this game. Well, in the next minute, I'm going to tell you about Boosteroid, a cloud gaming service that will let you play Satisfactory and just about any other game you own without a problem. You'll play the game on their servers, and as long as you have a decent internet connection, you'll have a fantastic experience. Just look at how Satisfactory runs on my laptop at low settings. Crunchy. Now look at how well Satisfactory runs using Boosteroid. That's a much smoother 1080p 60 FPS on high settings. When you go to their website, you'll see their prices are in British pounds, but don't worry, they have servers in a ton of countries. A single month is $9.89, or it's only $7.49 per month if you pay for a year up front. You can convert that to your country's local currency. If you're interested in trying out cloud gaming and want to try Boosteroid, I would really appreciate it because I get a little kickback for everyone that purchases using my link, and I think a lot of people in this community could probably make use of this service. Now back to the video. Manifold versus load balancing. There are two primary ways to distribute resources on belts to your factory machines, manifold and load balancing. And in most cases there's only one right answer, but people don't always stumble upon it. Let's look at the wrong answer first, which is load balancing. In this method, you take up more space and resources to make sure that each machine gets an even amount of resources right away. So if you have a network of 8 smelters taking in ore, you will create an initial splitter that splits in 2, then split each of those so you have 4 belts, then split each of those so you have 8. There are some niche use cases where load balancing is required, but generally it's pretty rare that you absolutely have to do this to have a functioning factory. The easier way is Manifold, which involves creating a splitter in front of each smelter and inputting a single belt on one end. Because of how splitters work, this method does take more time to fill up each of the machines, and at first only the first machine in the line will run properly. But given a short amount of time, the factory will be running just fine as it distributes all of the material. This is generally the best way to create factories as it takes less space and less parts. Additionally, this is a good method for the early game, as you can easily expand this factory when you get access to more resources, by adding on machines to the end of the line and extending the belt. In the early game, you'll pretty quickly unlock Mark II miners and higher belt speeds, so rather than tearing down an old factory entirely, you can just upgrade it. If you want to learn about the pros and cons of these two methods, check out my video about the topic, which should be in the top corner of the video right now. So those are 5 tips that you need to know if you're just starting Satisfactory, and I called them out specifically because the game doesn't state these things outright, or they're easily overlooked if they're on a list of controls. If you're a veteran player, leave your best tips in the comments below, as I've only just scratched the surface on ways to make Satisfactory even more fun and enjoyable. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more guide videos and news about future updates to the game.